Welcome back to The Explainer. So, if you've been messing around in the digital art space lately, you've almost certainly hit this very specific, incredibly frustrating wall, that dreaded plastic-looking AI skin. You know exactly the look I'm talking about, right? Hyperglossy, artificially perfect, just instantly recognizable as generated. Well, today, we're going to completely cure that. We're walking through a highly technical, step-by-step workflow guide to help you build some incredibly realistic, truly cinematic AI characters and scenes. We're talking end-to-end, from raw generation all the way to the final edit. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is the exact pipeline we're going to follow today to level up your workflow. 1. The secret to cinematic depth. 2. The gray background fix. 3. Perfecting consistent outfit swaps. 4. Generating character reference sheets. 5. Building complex AI scenes. And finally, 6. The human edit. Let's jump right into section 1, the secret to cinematic depth. To kick things off, we really need a massive mindset shift. When you're just starting out, the instinct is usually to make everything hyper sharp and super clean. But if we actually want photorealism, we literally have to do the exact opposite. Think about legendary cinematographers, like Roger Deakins working on Blade Runner. Real cinema relies so heavily on atmospheric haze. They're actually pumping atmospheric spray onto the set so the light has something physical to grab onto. It lets a face naturally emerge from the murk. Because without that haze, your character just looks like a flat sticker pasted onto a background. And that brings us to this concept of volumetric depth. By intentionally introducing atmospheric elements, haze, fog, smoke, into your AI prompts, you're forcing the light to interact with a 3D space. It sounds wild, but making things slightly unsharp, slightly hazy, is exactly what creates the most photorealistic, emotionally resonant results. It's honestly the single biggest leap you can make toward getting an image to look photographed rather than generated. All right, moving on to section 2, the gray background fix. So the crucial point is, once we've got a handle on atmospheric depth, we absolutely have to fix how we're building our base characters before we ever drop them into a scene. For the longest time, the standard practice was to just build characters on a pure, seamless white background. And I get it, it seems logical, right? Clean, neutral, but actually, no. Pure white backgrounds act like these massive reflectors. They totally blow out the edges of the face, they kick this harsh light right back up into the jawline, and boom, that's what causes that terrible, shiny, plastic-looking skin. The fix? It's literally so simple, but a total game changer. Just use a solid gray background. A gray background gives you this beautifully soft, diffuse lighting on the face. It completely kills the gloss, giving you highly realistic, matte skin textures that will composite perfectly when you move them into darker, cinematic scenes later. Now, when you're actually rendering that base character out on your new gray background, you've got to choose the right tool for the job. Nano Banana Pro? That's going to be your go-to. It's excellent and super efficient for simple outfits and standard renders. Now, if you need hyper-realistic facial details and you don't mind burning a few extra credits, GPT-2 is an absolute powerhouse. But say your character needs some highly stylized, crazy complex clothing, we're talking massive parachute pants or translucent rain jackets, then Soul Cinema is absolutely essential for getting that fabric behavior to look right. Okay, let's roll right into section 3, perfecting consistent outfit swaps. So, you've got your base character looking incredible on that gray background, but obviously you'll inevitably need to change their clothes for different scenes, all while keeping their face perfectly consistent. This is where a super efficient Claude workflow comes in to save the day. Step 1, just grab a screenshot of the desired outfit. Step 2, grab a screenshot of your base character. Step 3, drop them both into Claude and prompt it to do the swap. And notice I said screenshots. We use screenshots here instead of massive, full-res image files because it is drastically faster for the AI to process. You save a ton of time, and honestly, you don't sacrifice any reference quality. Oh, and one golden rule, always, always make sure the outfit image goes first in your prompt. Now, I want to give you a massive pro tip for this stage. Because you're doing a generic outfit swap, the AI will sometimes focus so hard on generating the new clothes that it completely forgets your character's micro details. To stop this, you literally have to explicitly write out humanizing details. Things like specific tattoos, birthmarks, maybe a certain piercing, right there in your swap prompt. That's how you ensure those details survive the generation process and your character actually retains their unique identity. Which brings us to section 4, generating character reference sheets. All right, so your character has that perfect matte skin texture and the outfit is locked in. Now we have to essentially freeze their intricate design before we even think about animating them in a complex environment. We do this using what we call the 6-panel Claude prompt. By simply asking the AI to generate a unified 6-panel character sheet, you get this amazing full-body overview right alongside super detailed close-ups of the face, the hands, the accessories. I mean, it captures vital micro details, down to nail polish colors and specific rings, all in one single generation. Back in the day, artists spent hours stitching these together in Photoshop, but now you get a cohesive master reference document instantly. It guarantees the AI knows exactly what it's supposed to render in every single future frame. Let's move to Section 5 and see how this builds. Building complex AI scenes. So this is where your static character finally comes to life in the video generation phase. And listen, when you're prompting for your scene environment, your exact word choice dictates literally everything. Here's a brilliantly specific insight from our source material. Let's say you want a rainy scene. Do not, I repeat, do not prompt for rain streaks, because in current video models, those streaks almost always render as these weird, frozen, static lines just hovering in midair. It completely ruins the shot. Instead, prompt for rain texture on the ground or raindrops on the roof. It gives you that exact same moody, wet atmosphere, but entirely avoids those unnatural, frozen artifacts. Now, getting this right requires a pretty strict operational timeline. First, you upload your character sheets and scene details into Claude, and Claude is going to output a highly detailed text prompt, complete with specific image tags. Next, and pay attention because this is absolutely critical, you move over to a video generator, something like Seed Dance. You can upload up to 9 reference images there, but you must upload them in the exact sequential order that Claude gave you. Why? Because that upload order strictly dictates the @image1 and @image2 tags in your text prompt. If you mix up that order even a little bit, the AI is going to get super confused and try to apply your character's face to like a car in the background. Okay, so how do we break away from that stiff, floaty, artificial look of standard AI outputs? We've got to inject some cinematic camera realism. First things first, upscale your final renders to a nice crisp 720p using a tool like Topaz. Then, right there in your prompt, ask for camera operator shakiness. Think about it. A real human holding a camera breathes, right? They shift their weight. Simulating that tiny imperfection adds massive realism. And finally, play around with Dutch angles, those slightly tilted camera perspectives to create a dynamic, far less rigid framing. You're basically faking a real breathing human operating the camera. And that brings us to our final section, Section 6, the human edit, reaching 90%. This right here is the final and honestly the absolute most important stage of the entire workflow. This is where the machine stops and your true craft as an artist actually takes over. And this brilliantly illustrates the reality of the medium right now, the 70-90 rule. Having a pile of beautiful video generations just sitting on a timeline, that's not a film. That is just the first 70%. The AI only gives you the raw visual assets. The next 20% happens exclusively in the edit bay. And what about that final 10%? Well, that is intentionally left on the table. It represents the gap of human imperfection. It's what ensures your world actually feels emotionally resonant rather than just some cold, indistinguishable deepfake reality. So that vital 20% in the edit bay, that's where the real magic happens. You have to color grade your clips so they actually feel like they were shot on the exact same roll of film. You've got to utilize J-cuts, where the audio of the next clip starts playing right before the video cuts to simulate natural human dialogue. You layer in all this intricate sound design in Foley. But most importantly, you have to apply aggressive pacing. Seriously, you must be willing to cut out 4 seconds of a breathtakingly gorgeous AI generation if those 4 seconds simply don't serve the story. Which brings us to this incredibly grounded reminder: AI is just a brush. It's the most powerful brush we have in our tool bag right now, but it's a brush nonetheless. The AI isn't here to replace the artist. It's literally just upgrading your tools. The storytelling, the pacing, the raw emotion, all of that still entirely belongs to you. We've covered a ton today, from volumetric depth and that life-saving gray background fix to complex outfit swaps and the absolutely vital human edit. You now have the exact technical pipeline to stop making plastic-looking slop and start actually making cinema. So the only thing left to ask is, are you ready to pick up the brush, embrace that 10% human imperfection, and start building your own cinematic worlds? Thanks so much for joining us on this explainer, and we'll catch you next time.